We're going to go ahead and continue on with our media availabilities this afternoon at Pocono Raceway. We are now joined by Danny Stockman, crew chief of the number 27 Menard Chevrolet for Richard Childress Racing, and Richard Childress Racing competition director, Dr. Eric Warren. Sorry. Danny, I understand that this will be your first week with the number 27 Sprint Cup Series team, so why don't you just talk about moving up to the Sprint Cup Series and expectations for this weekend with Paul Menard?
Well, definitely not much time to prepare and all that stuff. We kind of just had a couple days at the shop to get ready to come to Pocono, and to be quite honest with you, it was more about dealing with the people this week and making sure that the people were pumped up and excited and ready to go compete. You know, it's important that the people are behind you from the start, and it's important that they are 100% ready to go to battle, as Eric Warren talks to us about. We need to take this 27 team and get them uplifted, get them really pumped up, and we need to make a difference this second half of the season, and that's what the last 3 days has been. Obviously very, very excited for the opportunity that everybody has given me and everything, and it's been fun. We're looking forward to it. We're looking forward to making a difference in the performance side of things, and we'll see how it fares here.
All right, and Dr. Warren, just talk about the decision in moving Danny from the Xfinity Series, what you've seen in him as a crew chief in the Xfinity Series to now having him in the Sprint Cup Series with your team.
You know, I think in this position, the first thing you're trying to look at is the performance of the organization as a whole. And, you know, we've looked at the three-team and the, success Austin has had compared to last year. And we're seeing kind of a improved performance in the 31. And we just look at the balance of our team, and, as has happened multiple times in the years, you look at the chemistry of the team, and, after a while you realize, all right, we need to do something to keep the performance up. Paul made the chase last year. We felt like it was one of his best years, but to be honest, the last part of the chase, we kind of struggled a little bit. We continued a little bit at the beginning of this year, and so, we're trying to win a race and get in the chase. It's not over until it's over, and we know the guys at RCR and the organization is continuing to bring great cars to the track, and we're working on some new improvements that hopefully show. And there's a few races left that we still feel like we can get in. And so there's some discussion about thinking about it, Richard and I, and do we change in off season? What do we do here? And basically just realize no time better than the present, give us as many races as possible. And we have a good organization. We got a lot of support, a lot of people that can help Danny, and Justin's been a great asset to RCR and will continue to be so in the future. So it's really about Paul and Danny, and they work well together on the Xfinity side, some of the races, and just kind of a natural progression.
All right, we'll go ahead and open it up to questions, and we'll start up front with Reid.
Reid Spencer with NASCAR Wire Service. Danny, given the relative suddenness and the adjustments that you have to make during this week, are you surprised to be on top of the speed chart after the first practice?
Definitely a little bit surprised. I knew that we were headed in the right direction a couple weeks. RCR as a whole, we don't like to suck, and we have been extremely, what's the word? We have been really, really digging hard as a company to not suck. I mean, it's not fun. Your people get beat down, and Eric and Richard and everybody at the shop we have all the tools to do this right. Well, we've got some new stuff that we've been working on as a company and everything, and it's never ending. We got to stay ahead of that curve, and I feel like right now, like I said, I'm new and I'm scanning through the pictures after practice and walking through the garage here, eyeballs wide open, looking at everybody's equipment, and we have all the stuff. Our stuff is there. It's competitive. We got to stay in front of the curve for the next change, and I feel like with Eric in charge of our company, he's going to make sure that we do that. It takes time for change. And Eric's been here, what, 3 years now? This is the fourth year. It takes a long time to put everything together and for it all to finally start coming into where it needs to come into. As far as today, you know, it's pretty cool being on top of the board. We feel we know what it takes and the areas to look in to make speed, and you know, we put it to work, and we'll see how qualifying goes.
All right, we'll go to Steve Post.
You know, Danny, just listening to you and actually watching you, you talk about being on top of the speed chart, and you talk about those little things. You actually, as you said that, you held your fingers. How tough is it to keep working on those base hits, those getting that runner moving around? How challenging is it to do that when you are trying not to suck or trying to get away from where you are? How challenging is it to be patient and keep finding those things, like being the fastest car in practice today?
Well, you really have to believe in your people first off at the shop. With everybody being on the road so much, you can't go to the wind tunnel every week. You can't be at every single pit practice. You can't do a lot of things that's going on at the shop right now. But one thing you can do is listen to your people and listen to what they have to tell you in the areas to work in. And if you believe in your people and you believe in the direction that the company's headed, and you do those things that the information that they're providing you, and you perfect those little things, you're going to make speed. You can't leave one I undotted and one T uncrossed. It has to be all of it from start to finish, from your team being prepared, from the splitter being bolted on the car right to, 2/10 of air pressure. Everything has to be perfect at this level to compete with these guys. And I feel with the people I have around me, I feel that we can do it.
All right, we'll go to Reid Spencer.
SpencerMotorsport.com. Eric, you guys changed your brakes, I believe, from the last time you were here, and it seemed to make a difference. I saw on the 3 in particular, he was talking a little bit about it. Can you talk about, the struggles you guys had earlier in the season with the brake package and what you brought here for Pocono?
I think, a lot of, as Danny said, you're trying to get every little piece of performance out of it. And then a lot of things you're trying to work on, like rotational weights and things like that. Early in the year, we were probably pushing the weight of the rotors a little bit too much, honestly. We have been looking at, as you always do, different companies, different technologies, who has the lightest weight, who has the best. And, the downforce, is less than last year. And so the braking requirements of some of these tracks, I think is continuing to surprise some people. Certainly we've seen that at Kentucky, even in a couple of things, and it'll obviously be worse, as we go into less downforce. So definitely made some errors there. I think we understand that a little bit, and hopefully we're past that. But it really was a combination of trying to push too hard on taking too much weight out of the rotors, but it bit us multiple times, actually.
What brake company are you guys using?
Well, we have a combination of AP and Brembo, so we actually have both.
All right, we'll go to Woody.
Woody came with them. And Danny, you mentioned having all the stuff and having all the tools that you need. You've had some success with Paul in the past on the Xfinity side. So how much of this, not just with you, but across the garage, do you feel is chemistry related? And do you feel like that's overlooked a lot of times?
Yeah, definitely chemistry. I've obviously, most of you know, I've worked with the boys, both Dillon boys, my whole career until midway through last season and this season. And I'll be right honest with everybody. That's a stressful deal working for the family. Eric can attest to that, and it's not easy. They are good race car drivers, but it's not easy working for family. And to be honest with you, when Paul gets in our Xfinity car, or even today, like, it's weird. Like, it's all business. You're there to do a job. You're there to race. You're there to perform, and there's just not a lot of outside other stuff that's bothering you. All you're working on is trying to make the race car faster and give him the feel that he's after. So definitely Paul is really low key, kind of real mellow, and I'm the opposite. I'm pretty wound up, and you guys hear me on the radio and stuff, yelling, screaming, leaving pit road and all that stuff. But I think it takes a mixture of both of that to keep the balance even. You know, you can't be too mellow and you can't be too amped up, or else things just don't work. But if a happy balancer, I think, works good.
All right, we'll go to Dustin Long.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. Eric, obviously the last 6 weeks your organization's had at least one car finish in the top 10. That's a streak that is better than most teams, so obviously that's a step forward. But obviously this is a sport where you look at the results at the end of the day, who's winning top fives and things like that. This is an organization that hasn't won since 2013. Why is it taking so long, and when is, and the bottom line is when are you going to get there, going to be able to compete against, you know, the Toyotas? Because obviously there's a big gap between them and a lot of teams, but it certainly seems like a more significant gap with them and your group.
Well, I mean, I think I'm going to tell you that we hope to win this weekend, so let's make that clear. You know, that's what we shoot for, and certainly I think everyone understands the challenge. Certainly, we want to get those wins. That's what we strive for. I think getting back up there in winner's circle is really going to take some of that weight off our shoulders. Obviously, we all go home on Sundays, and as everyone in the garage does, that's the hard part about this sport. You know, there are 39 teams now that go home thinking about where they failed, basically. And so, you know, certainly, I guess this will be my 20th season, and I have not quite seen the gap in performance that we're seeing this year with the Toyotas to some of the rest of the field. So, as an engineer, but also as a leader of a team, it kind of makes you step back and really trying to understand where that's at. And like Danny said, and you know, we saw some glimpses of it, honestly, in the Xfinity Series. There's been just as much domination there. And a couple weeks ago, we kind of came close there with Austin and those guys. And, you know, we kind of have a direction, I think, that's showing results on the racetrack. And it's up to us to prove it and finish it. You know, being fast in practice is great, I mean, from a morale point of view. But at the end of the day, it's not what this is about. It's about Sunday. And we'll see. We got a work cut out for us, but as everybody else does as well. But we're certainly not going to give up on it.
All right, thank you two for joining us here today, and good luck this weekend.
Thank you.